Hello, my name is Hauwa the Student Campaigns Lead. In our ongoing campaign to raise awareness about students' rights, we're having conversations with key staff members who will better inform us of the services that are available to students. And today, I'm here with a staff member. Our topic is anonymous marking. Could you kindly introduce yourself?
Of course, thank you ever so much for the opportunity to talk to you today. My name is Steve Briggs. I'm Director of Learning, Teaching and Libraries. So that means I have responsibility for the libraries across university campuses. My teams are responsible for things like BRIO. We provide learning development, academic skills support, and we also provide training and guidance for academic staff around teaching and learning.
Thank you very much. So let's start off. Could you tell us what anonymous marking means and why it matters to students?
Yeah, absolutely. So anonymous marking is when an assessment is graded and feedback is provided without lecturers knowing which student has actually authored it. It's our intention that anonymous marking, along with other moderation practices, which I can discuss a little bit later on, help to ensure that assessments are consistently marked fairly and assessed, and high quality feedback is routinely provided to all of our students.
Thank you. So just to build on that, what type of assessments, or rather, are there types of assessments that can be anonymously marked, some that can't, and why?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's usually possible to mark most written work anonymously. So that would include things like essays, reports, case studies, and written exams. There are some examples of assessments where anonymous marking isn't possible. That would include a presentation, because obviously you'd see the person delivering it, performances for the same reason, practical exercises, and also dissertations, because obviously you'd work closely with a supervisor and they'd know what the topic was going to be about.
Okay, so you've said that presentations cannot be anonymously marked, but then how do we apply anonymous marking in those situations?
Okay, so in a situation where it's not possible to have anonymous marking, there's other ways that we can maintain fairness. So the university has an internal moderation process, and what that means is assessment marking is ensured that it's consistent and fair. So this will involve a sample of assessments being marked by more than one academic to check that the grades awarded are comparable. There are also academics who are employed at other universities who act as external examiners. So they come into the University of Bedfordshire and moderate a selection of assessments to check that these have been marked fairly and consistently. So through these moderation processes, we can be very confident that marking is consistently done in a manner that's appropriate. External examiners are a really common sector practice. So as well as we inviting people in, many of our own academics will also act as external examiners at other institutions as well. And that's also really important for helping us to calibrate what we're doing with the wider sector.
That's very interesting. Thank you for that. Now, could you tell us how anonymous marking feeds into the university's overall goals?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the core values that the university has, anonymous marking is in keeping with commitments to education, honesty and excellence. The university is also really committed to amplifying the student voice, and this includes things like this, working in really close partnership with the student union, and there's a few times we've obviously been able to do this year, which has been fantastic. I know from your feedback and from other students' feedback that anonymous marking is a really important topic. It's people that, something that students really care about. And therefore, having opportunities to talk about it today and explain to you the processes that we use is really important as well. So it's very much in keeping with the university's commitments across a range of different areas.
Thank you for that. So what role does anonymous marking play in promoting inclusion and equality?
Okay, so the university is really committed to transparency in terms of learning and teaching. We have lots of different policies that outline how we do things so that things are done fairly and things are done consistently. I really welcome these sorts of opportunities to have a chat about the different approaches that we take to ensure that things are done fairly and things are done in a consistent way to ensure that students get a consistent mark and also consistently high quality feedback. Fair processes serve to ensure that there's a quality of opportunity. People coming to university, there's a consistency across courses. There's actually quite limited evidence, though, that anonymous marking itself serves to reduce awarding gaps, which is where there would be a difference between two students with different characteristics. There's a number of these that have been identified across the sector, but we have a lot of other strategies that we're working on at the moment to look at how we can reduce awarding gaps that have been identified.
Okay, that's a topic for another day.
Absolutely.
I'll stick to anonymous marking for now. And if a student felt like their work wasn't anonymously marked, what should they do?
So if there's anyone got any concerns around anonymous marking, you can obviously share these using the student voice feedback form.
Okay.
We would then obviously check that practices are happening as intended. So there's been lots of situations in the past where, not necessarily specific to anonymous marking, that we've had feedback from students, and it's helped us to just investigate, check things the way they need to be. And it might be we just provide reassurance to say, actually, we've looked into this, it is happening as expected, but we want students to feel confident that what's happening is what should be happening. So we're always happy to check.
Okay. Thank you very much. That comes to the conclusion of our questions, and thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights, and looking forward to working more with you in the future.
Thanks ever so much, and not a problem. Really enjoyed having the chat today. Thank you.